Temple in Jerusalem or Holy Temple refers to the temples that were built one after the other on the Temple Hill in the Old City of Jerusalem. Historically, 2 temples have been built at this location. The next temple that was not yet built was called the Third Temple, which is believed to be created in the future. According to the ancient beliefs of Judaism, the temple or Temple Hill is a metaphor for God's place on earth. It was built according to the Phoenician architectural style. The Hebrew Bible states that King Solomon, ruled between 971 to 931 AD, ordered the construction of the first temple. It is the center of Judaism according to the Hebrew scriptures. It is the only place used for worship. The temple building replaced the original Holy Temple with a crude altar on a hill. The first temple was destroyed by the Babylonians in 587 BC when the Babylonians pillaged and destroyed Jerusalem. Construction of the new temple began in 537 BC but was halted, and began again in the year 520 BC, and completed in 516 BC, and established in 515 BC. The Book of Ezra states that the building of the temple was ordered by Cyrus the Great and approved by Darius the Great. 500 years later, Herod the Great had the second temple restored around 20 BC. Therefore it is known as Herod's Temple. It was later destroyed by the Romans in 70 AD during the siege of Jerusalem. But the outer wall that is seen today has not been destroyed. And for a long time it was believed that the western wall was the only thing left. From the late 7th century onwards, the Temple Hill has been home to the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, a sacred Islamic site from a similar period. Temple of Solomon, Solomon's Temple, built according to the design that God had specially designed for King David. King David hoped to build the first temple but was rebuffed and told to wait for his son to build the first temple. During David's reign, he began collecting materials for further use, from wood and stone for foundations to gold, silver, bronze and other metals. The purpose of building the temple was to house the Ark of the Covenant for all nations, especially the nation of Israel, and for it to be a place where everyone could come and worship the Lord. The first temple is called Solomon's Temple, is thought to have been built by people from the 12 tribes of Israel. The 12 tribes came together under the leadership of David and later Solomon. After the reign of King Solomon, Rehoboam the son of a proud man who caused the 10 tribes of Israel to break away and form the northern kingdom. While the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and most of Levi remained with the kingdom of Judah, the second temple was later built by the remnants of the tribe of Judah, who had been taken into captivity by Nebuchadnezzar II around 600 BC. The other 10 tribes of Israel had by then dissipated. Then it was hundreds of years ago when the empire was destroyed by the Assyrian kingdom. The 2 temples were built consecutively on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The first temple, or Temple of Solomon, was built around the first millennium BC, and has been astronomically indicated that it was built in 957 BC. Replaces the original altar. The temple was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar II in 586 BC. So the first temple stood around 375 before it was destroyed. Talmud tradition states that for 410 years the building itself has played an important role in the tradition. The second temple was built after Cyrus the Great granted royal permission to the Jews to return from Babylon. After being taken captive by King Nebuchadnezzar, the move back occurred around 537 BC. And after construction was halted many times, it was finally completed in 516 BC. The dimensions of the Temple Mount at that time were 150 meters x 50 meters. The second temple was destroyed by the Roman Empire under Titus in 70 AD. The second temple was dismantled by the Roman soldier Pompey when they captured Jerusalem in 63 BC. The historian Josephus records that Pompey did not seize anything from the temple or from the temple treasury. but killed the royal priest who was standing in the way of the temple. Pompey eventually lost power and died when pursued and killed, which the Jews saw as punishment from God. Around 20 BC, King Herod the Great began restoring the temple complex, in order to make it bigger and more dignified than before. But hardly before it was finished, it was completely destroyed until its foundations by the Roman Empire. During the final Jewish revolt against Roman occupation, between 132 and 135 AD, Simon Bar Kokhba and Rabbi Akiva wanted to build a new temple, but the revolution failed and Jews were banned from entering Jerusalem by the Roman Empire. Efforts to rebuild the temple were resumed in 363 AD when Julian the Apostate ordered the restoration of Jerusalem's holy sites as a protest against Christianity, but this was not successful. The contemporary pagan historian Ammianus Marcellinus records that flames rose from the base and killed many of the workers. Since the destruction of the Second Temple, prayers for the construction of the Third Temple have become part of the Jews' 3 daily prayers, but the question of when it would be appropriate to build the Third Temple was not agreed upon among the Jews. Some groups agreed with the creation, but some groups did not. While the expansion of Abrahamic religions from the 1st century AD onward created conflicts over the ownership of Jerusalem, the central city of the 3 religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Moreover, the location of Jerusalem today made it difficult to build a new temple on the area that today is the location of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, a sacred site in Islam. The temple was the place of worship described in the Hebrew scriptures that included daily morning and afternoon sacrifices, and the special sacrifice on the Sabbath day and other holy days of Judaism. The Levites sang psalms during the ceremony, or psalms appropriate to the occasion as appropriate, such as on the occasion of Thanksgiving. Thank you for the information and pictures from Wikipedia.com.